My name is Adir Rafael, and I'm the owner and founder of Jericho Defensive Shooting Academy and Krav Maga. My background is military in the Israeli Defense Forces. I served for 3.5 years as a tank commander. Served on all Israeli borders, the Lebanese border, the Syrian border, the Jordanian border, the Gazan border, and also the Egyptian one. And right after military, I joined the Israeli Secret Service, or as they call it, the Israeli Shin Bet. I've been providing security to certain figures. Did that for about 2.5 years in Israel, and was moved out to New York City. As a diplomat to the State of Israel, I was doing private details for Israeli ambassadors and delegates that came in. Between that military service, the Israeli Shin Bet, I quickly realized that that's what I want to do in life. This is kind of where my future holds.
So where in Israel did you grow up?
So I grew up in the top north part of Israel. That area, that province is called the Galilee. And that was a pretty rough time during the early 90s when I grew up over there. It's very different than the actual lifestyle here in the US. I was born right in the midst of the Lebanon war. Israel was fighting in Lebanon, fighting a terrorist organization called Hezbollah. Unluckily enough, the city in which I was born is actually the largest city of the north. Hezbollah chose our city to target with rockets. It would go on and off, right? You'd have seasons of escalations between the Israeli military and Hezbollah. I remember specifically a period of time where every Tuesday and every Thursday we expect at 8 a.m. rockets to go down. And as a kid, you don't really understand why. So a little bit after I grew up, you realize that on Tuesday and Thursday they had farmers market, and that attracted a lot of people from all the other villages, the other places. They were trying to hit as many human casualties as possible with those rockets.
How are you feeling?
Satisfied. Definitely after 20 minutes of rolling, you get a different perspective. You know that there's strong people out there. There's people that are skilled. People that know what they're doing, especially on a place like the ground. And this is the missing piece to the puzzle in my journey. Having groundwork skills accomplished together with standing skills, that's imperative. And that's something we recently incorporated in our program. We actually dedicate 1 week a month to ground fighting, just because it's very important. Understanding that in the real world, you're not going to have this open mat where fighting taking place in restaurants, in homes, places where you have furniture around, obstacles. Even if you're very skilled with striking, with stand-up work, with Krav Maga, it's not your fault if you fall down, because there are obstacles around. So once you go to the ground, it's not going to be very easy to stand up and fight. Sometimes the only way is to stay on the ground. And you got to know what you're doing. Jiu-Jitsu also, it's one of the few things that you can pressure test at 100% force. Unlike striking, if you're practicing 100% force every day, quite frankly, you can't come to class tomorrow. You're going to have to take some time off. Injuries are more prevalent. So something like grappling in Jiu-Jitsu, that gives you the intensity to be expected from a true legitimate fight. That's why I like it. That's why I'm doing it. That's why you see me grinding over here as a beginner, getting smashed by people, and that's good. That's grounding. That's bringing you down to ground level, making sure that you're staying humble. morning. Our schedule is non-typical to a traditional family. Both of our works are nighttime, and this is our time to hang out right now. So we don't feel bad about relaxing in the daytime, which is non-typical. This is our time right now to chill, and in the evening, this is go time again. So. That's kind of how we made ourselves work in this type of lifestyle. We're both business owners, and the toll it takes is basically you have to learn to disconnect. You have to learn that when you're home, you leave work behind. And find that perfect balance, and it's not easy. It's a daily struggle that we're trying to accomplish because being a small business owner, your mind takes you straight there. It's your baby. You raised it from scratch, and God forbid something happens to it. But also, God forbid something happens to your relationship. So it's super important to keep that balance and have this morning time or daytime that you're just unplugged, disconnected, that's family time, that's what it is. You sit outside. Dogs, you come in. Come here.
What is Jericho Tactical and how did it come to exist?
I quickly realized that my DNA is in the defense industry. I realized that that's what I want to do. One of the major catalysts of opening this place was a spree of terror attacks here on US soil. Specifically, the Orlando shooting really hit a soft spot in my heart. I have noticed that you had one perpetrator getting into a club where you had hundreds of people, and one perpetrator was able to end the lives of 50 or 60 people. But imagine what would be the message if the gunman was attacked by the actual, or the gunman was subdued by the actual victims. What message will that transmit to future or possible people that are swinging between, hey, should I do it or should I not? Okay, and that's basically was the catalyst, is how to have to teach people that type of mentality, how to provide them the tools to be defenders of others, and that is just going to require every bit of skill from them. So we just transformed our academy to a basic force-on-force scenario trainer. And the purpose behind it is to really bring the students to the closest possible to reality. So we have covers, we have concealment, we have different rooms. We also use the outdoor parking lot, which can actually serve as more layout for actual scenarios. So scenarios that we do over here is basically we're doing research on scenarios that took place around the world, actual scenarios, and our job here is to recreate them and to bring the actual skills that's required to overcome a scenario. Before the students are actually going through hands-on, we have about a 45-minute classroom session. We're watching the videos, and under no stress whatsoever, we are evaluating each scenario and critiquing it and giving some tips on what to do, and then we're actually going into the hands-on. Some classes will be scenarios only, some classes will involve some skill-based. So weapon retention and how to make sure your gun is not being taken away from you. You know, some principles on compliance, opportunity, action, basically waiting your turn before you are eliciting a deadly threat. And what's really unique about this program is that scenarios will not end when the bad guy is on the ground. Scenarios will continue until 911 has been called, police has been dispatched. You're going to have the reaction from bystanders around to what's happening, and that's something that you need to handle as well. That's very important during training. So definitely, bad guy down on the floor doesn't mean it ends. You have a whole set of work that needs to take place right after. So definitely viewing something on video and watching it, it's one step, it's better than nothing, but at the same time, you really have to put yourself in those scenarios and really know your actual reactions. Some people are really surprised by their initial reactions, what they think they would have done and then what they actually did. So that's really kind of where people get a mirror flapped on their face, and this is who you are and this is what you're doing. This is your natural reaction to some scenarios. Improvement is actually noticeable. So from month to month, people are coming in, and if their reaction on the first run was not matching their expectations, you can see that they're doing their homework. You can see that they're actually thinking about it. They're actually putting a lot more thought behind those scenarios, and then coming in the next class a completely different person, completely different defender, more assertive, definitely taking more initiative rather than just passive and freezing. Okay, so I'm a big fan of when we're drilling or doing something of some sort of a defensive context to it, is to drill and incorporating or drill mechanics that work on more than one shot. So I like to use 5 shots burst on the majority of my drills, just to remind myself that it will require way more than one shot to stop a threat, to just getting used to in my system that, okay, I need to fire bursts rather than single strikes or just double taps. I want to do a little bit more than that, okay? And that's what we're trained in Israel as well. This is kind of what I pass along to my students. So drill's going to be 5 shots from here, running for empty. We're gonna go run and take cover, trying to do a magazine while on the move, all right? Going on for the cover, firing 5 shots from cover, running empty from crouch position on there, transitioning to the pistol, 5 shots, total of 15 shots to reload at the end. Okay, now the reload is probably going to be for the primary because we have only 4 mags. If you have to choose between this or this, what are you going to choose? Definitely, we're going to choose a platform that have more braces, more stability. So definitely we're going to do for that. All right, sounds good? You know, this is one, like this is the part where you have an opportunity at hand, and I think for a lot of people the common response would be, nah, I'm good, I'm fine, you know, I'm happy with where I'm at right now. You know, I'm pretty comfortable, I have my fitness routine, I'm good to go, I don't need it. But at the same time, you have an opportunity to learn something new. You have another opportunity to meet somebody new. And Cody is one of the guys that, you know, it's an honor training with him, and the more I get to know him, the more I respect him. This guy is amazing. He's a wealth of knowledge from the fitness perspective. And kind of in an indirect way, it really improved my teaching of the strength and conditioning program. It really kind of comes in hands in hand. So it's been awesome. It's been awesome. We see each other twice a week. We see each other 4 hours a week. That's a lot. So 2 hours each time, Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So we're on our way to Cody right now. Let's meet him.
What does Jericho Tactical focus on?
As far as creating this defender, as far as creating somebody that is able to defend themselves, all right, in my opinion here, in order for a normal human being to be able to defend themselves, they have to have physical fitness. Physical fitness comes together with confidence. The moment your body's stronger, your body's able to do certain tasks, right? To jump, to climb, to pull yourself up, to lift certain weights. All of a sudden your body adjusts, becomes bigger, becomes stronger. You have that confidence that you can actually do something, all right? But just with being fit, it's just not enough. Krav Maga is a simple system. In a short period of time, a relatively short period of time, you really can get a good level of understanding of the basics of Krav Maga. What I think the greatest advantage of Krav Maga is that you're going to be touching on multiple principles from a lot of different traditional martial arts, and top that off with weapon skills. So how to handle a weapon that is being present in front of you. It's also going to talk a lot about mental toughness that is very required for self-defense. Talk about de-escalation. Talk about the legality of what you're doing.
What recommendation do you have for someone who is interested in learning more about self-defense?
I think what's the most important thing is actually take the step to do something, rather than just go into the analysis paralysis type of freeze. You got to go ahead out there and do something. It is not going to be an easy process for you. It is not going to be clicking to you immediately. That's something that you're going to have learning curves, ups and downs, and you're going to have a training journey that's, you know, some weeks or some months are better than others. My only advice to you is don't quit, don't stop. It will pay off at the end. You'll have those skills that are not just physical skills, those are massive mental skills. They will help you in your day-to-day lives, regardless if you use those skills or not on the streets. Everybody can do it. Get out there and do some work.